Hello and welcome back to It's Not Stitchcraft. We're doing the real pregnancy talk today, and soon to be a real postpartum talk. But in this one, we're gonna focus on my third trimester. Today is Thursday, not Thursday. I did this in my last video that I literally just filmed about all my yarny things. It's Friday, Friday, November 14th of 2025. It's funny, we are 4 days past my baby's due date. Obviously, you can see she's here. We're not showing her face on camera or anything, but she did just fall asleep in our baby wrap, so we are keeping her here. And my camera, I just realized, kind of changed positions. There we go. That's a little less ski-wampus. But anyway, she's here. She's healthy. I'm doing fine. Healing as best as I can. Yeah, it's crazy to think that we're almost 3 weeks postpartum at this point, which I will go into that in the next video I'll be filming, which is my labor, delivery, and then postpartum experience. Yeah, along with just baby care stuff. But anyways, we will get into this. Yeah, so third trimester. It's weeks traditionally, and I don't know, I'm saying traditionally, medically it is weeks 28 through the end of your pregnancy, which typically is anywhere between week 37 and week 41, actually. 41 is typically when they will induce you, at least at my hospital, unless you elect for a really early induction, I guess. But yes, anyways, so third trimester, for me, it was, I don't want to say it was more physically demanding than the first trimester. Although I think the first trimester just sucked because I was sick the whole time and like almost couldn't get out of bed the whole time. And so almost it was like mentally worse. But third trimester was definitely physically, it was just really hard. I think I said in one of my earlier videos, I don't remember if it was a Stitchcraft video where I was talking about my pregnancy stuff or one of the other real pregnancy talk videos I've done. But I was like, it's weird how your baby doesn't get over a pound really until the end of your pregnancy. And I entered my third trimester, and every week she was gaining about half a pound. And that's when I went, that's why. That's why they're small up until the end. Because your body just hurts all the time. And they make it to, 4.5 pounds. And all of a sudden your body is like, what is going on? Like your stomach hurts and your lungs hurt, especially like your rib cage area hurts from all the pressure in there and all of the weight that it's carrying. Your back hurts, especially it's like your mid back. It's not your lower back, but like your mid back hurts really bad all the time. Sitting down is uncomfortable. Like I would sit down and finally find like a comfortable-ish position, but then like I would get really sweaty in between where my stomach was touching my legs, or in between where my boobs were touching my tummy, and it was just like it got really uncomfortable really fast, and so that sucked. My husband was great. There's like the internet trend of guys, or at least partners, coming and like giving a hug from behind essentially and lifting up the stomach, and it just like you feel like you can breathe again for a second. So my husband tried to do that a couple times a day, which was really sweet of him, to give me a little break from carrying my little baby around. But yeah, the worst part I think of third trimester was the heartburn. It hit really bad. Like it was pretty bad the whole time, but then all of a sudden it like spiked. And it was when she got to about 4 or 5 pounds. Which is, it's about when you get to weeks like 32, if I remember my weeks correctly. And so you still have, a ways to go. You're like, okay, we're still, a month or two out from getting this baby out of me, safely at least. And your heartburn just is insane. Like anything I was to eat, even if it wasn't acidic, even if it was just like bread, it would just, my heartburn was insane. Um, and not only was the heartburn bad, my third trimester, I threw up every single day without fail. Sometimes it was 2 times a day. Um, and yet still, I would go into work and I would get my stuff done. And then I would come home absolutely exhausted. I was really proud of myself, though. I was able to maintain 5 to 6 dogs up until really it was about week 32. And then I stepped down to 4 to 5 dogs, and then right when I got to week 37, I told my team I need to just stay at 4 dogs because, like, it's not even, the cutting and the brushing with my arms that has to do, it's with bending over for the bath. And if I did more than 4 baths a day, like my back and stomach and pelvis, especially, they would hurt for days on end. Um, so yeah, third trimester, that really sucks. The fun part though, wait, hello, you making cute little noises. Um, she wanted to say hi, I guess. But I think third trimester is also really fun though, because you do start to show, and so people are finally like, oh, like you're actually pregnant and you're not like faking this the whole time. And you do get like the big belly. My belly was never that big. I hardly got any stretch marks on me, which I was fine with, but I would have rather had stretch marks that lasted afterwards than throwing up every single day, and being nauseous the whole time. Um, but yeah, so that was great. What was I gonna say? Oh, the third trimester does seem to go by pretty quick though, because you do have doctor's appointments every other week, and then you get to week 36, and they go to weekly visits. And so, like, my brain, how it worked was like, it's like I just have to make it to the next doctor's appointment. And, you get 2 doctor's appointments done, and you're already, 1 month in. And so that it was able to go a lot faster just mentally for me, which was good. The last like week or so, like week 37, was definitely the hardest. Um, Around week 36 is when really we noticed she dropped. Um, or lightning happens, is what they call it. Lightning, I guess, is how I think it's pronounced. But essentially, what happens is your baby's head will drop down into the pelvis, or at least lower into the pelvis, which is what it's supposed to do, huh? You did your job. That's what I told you. Um, I kept telling her, you do your job. You get your head down there and put pressure where it needs to be put. You okay, little one? There you go. I know. But I kept telling her, you put pressure where you need to, and then I'll do the rest, and I'll get you out of there safely. And she did her job. She put pressure where it needed to go, where it needed to happen. And but yeah, when she dropped down and that lightning happens, like heartburn went down. It still was there until the very end, which sucks, but it was like I wasn't having to take a tum every, 3 to 4 hours anymore. It was like, okay, maybe I have to take one after I eat. And then like when I get up in the middle of the night, because I've been laying down and my stomach acid was able to travel up. Which was a lot nicer. But yeah, week 36 is when things kind of started to happen to point towards labor, which made me and my husband especially really, really happy. Yeah, I think too, I talked about it a little bit. It was right at the end of week 35, actually. And this was when she started to drop down. We just didn't know that yet. But I got like this big cramp in my stomach one Saturday when we were walking the girls, actually, and it lasted for 30 minutes. And we looked it up online, and they're like, if it lasts more than 30 minutes, call your doctor. And so we did, and they're like, yeah, please come in. Like, since it is, like, there was no other signs. I wasn't bleeding or nothing, didn't have a fever. Baby was still moving. It was just like a really, it was probably, I'd say, a moderate period cramp feeling. So they're like, well, since it's moderate, let's have you come in and just check you out. So they checked me out. By that point, I think it was only 20% effaced and 1 centimeter dilated, which at that point I'm like, you know what? It's only week 30. It was the end of week 35, almost 36. But I was like, at that point, I'm like, I'll take anything starting right now But I'm glad that we're not like, in labor because that would have not been good. We didn't want a little preemie baby. We wanted a full term healthy baby, even though I wanted her out of me as soon as possible. um, but anyways, then so we went in and got checked out and everything was fine. It was just they said as the baby drops and gets bigger, your uterus starts to cramp up as it expands, which I thought was weird because I had not felt that my entire pregnancy. Um, but yeah, so that's what was happening. In case any of you experienced that same thing. Um, and then after that, started to lose bits of my mucus plug, which is great. That's supposed to happen. Um, no, I didn't have like bleeding or a bloody show or anything. Other than like little bits of the mucus plug, which is normal. Um, and then at my week 36 appointment, um, no, sorry, week 37 appointment. My 36, they checked which way the baby was facing. And she luckily was head down, thank goodness. I was a breech baby, and I was so difficult. They tried flipping me, they tried doing everything. And my poor mom said that trying to flip me hurt worse than my delivery and labor. I did have to be born C-section, but she did go into a little bit of labor because I wanted out of her tummy, apparently, earlier than they had scheduled it. But yes, I was worried that she was going to be the same way, but luckily little Celeste was head down, so we didn't have to worry about that. And then week 37, at that appointment, my doctor checked me out again. I was 90% effaced. No, sorry, I think it was 80% effaced, and only 1 centimeter dilated. Still, again, not terrible, but effacement has to happen too. So I'm glad that at least something, was in the works down there and happening. Um, yeah, and then over the next couple of days, I definitely started to feel more like they weren't necessarily contractions, I would say, but they felt like period cramps. It was about 3 to 4 times a day I would feel them, and slowly they kind of were increasing. Not a lot, I would say they only increased to about 5 or 6 a day, and they were never so bad that I had to like stop what I was doing and breathe through them. They were just kind of like, oh, this is like an inconvenient feeling and not a fun feeling going on. And so we kind of just wrote them off. They were like Braxton Hicks contractions, and like we had done enough research to know that as labor gets closer, your contractions are supposed to get closer together and more regular. And so that's what we just assumed was happening, which it was. But yeah, then comes the end of week 37, and I'll go into this more in my next video about labor and delivery and postpartum. Um, but then, yeah, they started getting more intense. Baby, the last 2 days that she was in my womb, she was so like obnoxiously active. Like she was moving around so much. And so I kept telling, my parents were over because they were helping to deliver our couch and our other furniture that we got from them. And I kept telling my husband, Emmer, but I'm like, this baby wants out. Like, she is moving so much. And it wasn't anything like, because online they say if your baby moves more, it's fine, unless it's like they're like really, like, I don't want to say like, it's like really aggressive almost, like they're kicking really, really, really hard when they haven't been. But it was about the same level of intensity. It was just, she was a lot more active. um, but yeah, so I'm like, she wants out. And out she did want because like 2 days later from when it started, 2 days later she was born. But yeah, and we'll go into that in the next video. But yeah, third trimester, there is a reason that baby is only a pound or less up until the very end, and that is because when they get big, it sucks so bad, and it is so hard on your body. There's a reason a lot of women don't like third trimester. I'm realizing I didn't hate it because physical body limitations like that I can do. It was the throwing up constantly and the nausea, but still having to eat that like sucked. But that was my whole pregnancy. But if it wasn't for that, the third trimester, I think I would have been able to get through a lot easier. Um, but yeah, so that's really it. It's just a lot of body aches and pain, at least that I experienced. Um, you are really tired a lot of the time. I also didn't experience a huge nesting drive. A lot of people I know do. I think a lot of that stems just from already I just like to be prepared for things to begin with. And so we had already been cleaning the house. We always clean the house on a regular basis, so it wasn't like crazy dirty. We had already set up all of our, diaper caddies and the room, her nursery, and we had everything ready in our room for her. So everything was kind of already set up and ready to go. Laundry had also already been done. Um, so that was a thing. Um, so yeah, all of that was all ready to go. Oh, and our bags were already packed. We had already packed hospital bags pretty early on. Thank goodness we did that. Um, but yeah, and everything had kind of already been set in stone. We did the day before though, because my mother-in-law had been over the weekend before, and then we had our couch delivered. We did just do like a quick vacuuming and mopping of especially this lower level, and then a little bit of our upstairs as well. But it wasn't like a full house clean because we had just done that like 2 days earlier. Um, but yeah, all of that really helped just to, I think, kind of keep it. But more than anything, those last few days, I was like, in the last couple of weeks, I was exhausted, just physically and mentally. From one, carrying a baby, and two, I was like, I am in week 37 and I'm showing signs of labor, and the internet says a bajillion things. It says it could be right now, and it says labor could also be in 3 weeks, and I would have to be induced. So it's so hard because every body is so different, and at that stage, like I was just so done, and I'm like, I just want her out of me right now and to be able to hold her and love her. And oh, now I'm getting teary-eyed. Of course, those postpartum hormones are hitting hard. um but um she came when she needed to, and that was what was great. But yeah, so that the end few months or a couple weeks is hard just because you are so exhausted physically and mentally and emotionally, I would say too. Like my pregnancy hormones weren't terrible, which is weird because I'm bad with hormones, and so I thought that like I would be all over the place, crazy wild. But I wasn't, which was great because then my husband got kind of a 9 month break from crazy Mary at the end. When your hormones start to kind of, switch a little bit to prepare for birth, there was a little bit of, the normal Mary that came back out, and my husband joked around about it quite a bit. Um, but for the most part, there wasn't much of that for my whole 9 months. But I think more than anything, mentally, it's just been, 9 months of waiting and 9 months of, at least for me, 9 months of being sick. And so I was just so ready to have her out and to, get back to a normal life. At least have my body back. And so, yeah, which she helped to do very much. Everything else though, labor and delivery and postpartum, I will talk about in the next video. Um, yeah, there wasn't really anything like crazy about our doctor's appointments. We did have one third trimester doctor's appointments with the span study we're doing, where they did an ultrasound, but they really were mainly looking at the placenta, and then they did like a head circumference, what's that? They did a head circumference check or measurement of her in the womb, but she was too big. We couldn't even see her face, and they didn't really show that. They did a couple measurements of her heart during that, but we didn't really get to see anything else, so it wasn't like exciting. It was just like, okay, there's the placenta mainly. Um, but yeah, so there is that. Yeah, and then all the other doctor's appointments were pretty mid. There were a lot of vaccines that you can opt in for, that they highly recommend. There's RSV, there's Tdap, there is COVID and the flu shot, which I opted in for all of them. Obviously, we want our little one protected, especially when there are weird anti-vaxxers out there and the measles and mumps and the whooping cough are running amok amongst us. We don't want her near any of that, and to be as protected as possible until she could start to build that immune system up on her own. So yeah, there was all of that. The one that hit the worst definitely was, it was weird. If I remember, it was the Tdap, and that was, I think, the first one I got, which was weird because I've never really had a reaction that bad to a vaccine, and it wasn't even bad. It was like for a day I threw up more than usual, and so I'm just assuming that's what it was. And I was really tired that day. This was closer to, I think it was week 28 to 30 when I got this one. Um, but yeah, that was the worst one. And it wasn't even that bad. It was just, it made me a little more sick than usual. Um, but yeah, so there was all of that. And then I did get a COVID booster and the flu shot and the RSV. RSV protects mainly from, no, sorry. Tdap is whooping cough, and then RSV, I forgot what exactly it protects from, but it's another like one that can be very deadly to kids. So we have all of that. And because I got all of it, it's now in her blood, at least for a little bit. Until you can get your own. But yeah, that's that. I guess that's really all third trimester was. It was mainly just doctor's appointments and a very sore and tired body. We didn't do anything fun. There were no trips or anything. Yeah. Oh, I guess too, the like 2 days leading up to labor and delivery, we went out to eat because it was the weekend. It was Friday and Saturday. Friday we went and got sushi, and I'm a vegan, so obviously there's no fish involved in any of my sushi, so I can still eat it, thank goodness. But I, like, after eating one roll, I just felt so nauseous, and it was weird because like I felt nauseous my whole pregnancy. I did not ever feel that nauseous up to that point, at least during my third trimester. And so that was kind of weird. And we were like, well, nausea is a sign that labor can be near, but so is everything else. And then the day after, we went to get tacos. And again, we got them, and I was able to eat all the tacos that time because I only got three. They were three little tacos. Because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to eat more than this right now just because of how nauseous I was still feeling. And yeah, I felt very nauseous after that too. And it wasn't just the tacos, it was my body telling me labor's right around the corner. But we will get into that in the next one. Yeah, that was really it for third trimester. Just more sickness, sore body, and lots of doctor's appointments. And then obviously it's kind of the weird end waiting game of, hey, labor's around the corner, but we don't know when it's going to start. And that is, I think that's the most mentally and emotionally exhausting part of the third trimester, is when is labor going to start? But yeah, we'll get into all the rest of it and the fun bits of labor and delivery and how great that was in the next video. But yeah, until then, stay safe out there. If you're pregnant and in your third trimester, congrats, you're almost there. I promise it is worth it. I know everybody says that, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But it is worth it once, they are safely here and in your arms and you're able to, hold them and take care of them and get your body back. I promise you get your body back. But yeah, we'll go into all that in the next one. But well, I'm not going to be pregnant anymore. I do not ever want to be pregnant again still. But yeah, I guess until the next video, stay safe out there and we will see you later. Bye-bye.